So we end up with one man and one woman together, trying to get all their needs met from the other. And it's not gonna happen. It's untenable. It makes for tension. It makes for anchors between them. And with the resentment they build up, with the bitterness between the two of them, for them to even be friendly with each other, even to help each other through the simpler things of life, becomes too much of an obstacle. So as we live and move in this culture, everyone we meet has been loaded up with that myth. They're looking for a perfect soulmate. People get together to try and get that impression that maybe I'm your perfect soulmate together. They lie. They lie to each other. They go through to a marriage. They lie in the wedding ceremony. I'm going to love you forever, like you can promise forever, and so on. And then they spend most of their lives trying to live to that lie, trying to put so much energy in that they make that lie eventually become true.
He never helped, we never have any money, and I just can't take it anymore. Look at him. No, he doesn't even give a damn now. Oh, gosh, I don't know how I could stay with him for so many years.
Right, okay, listen, Nicole, this is just not working, you know, we've got to actually work something out. There are children involved, we've got a serious thing here, we've got to take care of this. You can't just cut me out like that, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, what's this? Like the end? I mean, really? You know, we've got to make a plan here. Jeez, you know, and I love these kids, so.
Hi, this is Nicole.
I'm Lionel. My sons are in the band.
I mean, she can live in the same place. It's fine. I just want to get to know him better. Hey. I'm gonna have a G&T and
tequila. Yeah. Hey, you know this guy behind the bar?
It's quite cute, eh?
I think he likes you. Oh, let me get the next one.
Likes you well. What do I call it? Eddie. I'm just gonna introduce you. It's nothing big time. Hey, this is my friend. Well, I just wanted to. No, I think she likes you. Sure. I don't want this, in loveness to mess this whole thing up. please. I have told him hundreds of times, this is beautiful, it's happening, it's interesting, but it's never going to be the great love, I mean, it's important to me. I don't know why. He's like 22. He starts falling in love at 22. He doesn't even know what it's about. And I have been honest with him. I haven't tried to lead him up the garden path. It's great. It's nice. We're all enjoying it. Hey, fella, they're here.
It's going.
That's good. What do you guys do?
I'm doing my thesis on male aggression.
Male
Or just aggression in general. So it's the history of aggression.
If you hit anywhere else in your body, your head,
It's a hit.
your dangerous areas.
Your future.
Yeah, crown jewels, mate.
The main feeling is the aliveness of battle. So the aggression I brought to the game, the energy I had for it, all credit was due to my dear ex-wife. She made me good.
I have lots of aggression, yes, I snap.
Kill it. Fastest. Power. Rip your fucking head off.
The rage. Spent most of my life full with rage. If I didn't express the rage would just, I would turn it within. So I would get very depressed. So that rage then would be replaced with the sadness. But my aggression, I have no idea where it comes from.
But this was set up as well, so they could say whatever they wanted to say and build up whatever persona they wanted.
Really?
Yeah. I put the camera up and just left them there.
They could do it. It's not necessarily them speaking about themselves.
I think there's probably moments where you can't avoid yourself.
Does anybody know who they are anymore? Put a camera in front of anybody, eh? Yeah, it's very interesting. I think I'm going to have a big challenge here.
I think so too.
Nothing angers me more than being trapped. Nothing. Or feeling trapped.
What has angered you? What hasn't angered me? Aggression. Aggression, I have lots of aggression, yes, I snap.
I snap. Why does one get to a place where you have to snap?
There's certain preset triggers that a guy has, that I have, that if you push them, I'm going there.
I've wanted to be violent so often and I always stop myself.
What has angered me is the repeated beatings at school. Years and years of physical abuse was not good for me. South Africa was going through a time of complete insanity, demonic.
My aggression's mine, eh? It's mine. I take full responsibility for my aggression.
Why have I stopped myself? Because society doesn't accept violence. It's not a cool thing to do, and I don't accept it. It's the last level of communication.
I believe that there's some deeper truth to what we are here for. And Duel, in a way, reflects that striving.
I mean, if Duel reflects that, then Duel is basically, life and Duel are basically about competition and survival. Like, kill him before he kills you.
Yeah, but then there's also the friendships and
I suppose the bonding and it's about a sense of bondage, the bonding.
Where are you?
I don't know.
She finally understands why I go out there on Sundays. Of course, she won't go because we're all a bunch of male aggressive. You know, it's just too aggressive, man. I think it scares them shitless.
If the game is supposed to get the aggression out, there seems to be more where that came from. You know? Just a little bit. I don't know. I mean, does aggression? Do you get rid of it? Does it keep coming back? I mean, I think it's in like a vacuum. It's there.
I figure if I had women sitting in that same place, I'd have to ask them about anger specifically.
Sure.
It wouldn't just
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas here it seems to be like so knit into just them as men.
Life is a battle. I find life to be a struggle. Struggle not necessarily to win, but to just be on the moment so that things don't go wrong and one is happy.
But I think it's a question of perception because, I mean, why does life have to be a battlefield? You know, understand that it can be. That's one reflection through the prism, you know, but it could be like a warm bed. Why, life is a banquet. Life is a
Box of chocolate.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be a battlefield. I mean, if this game is I suppose that's quite a male thing. I think.
Duel makes me feel good. It's one of the few outlets I have in life. Pressure cooker, release the steam.
Duel is definitely an outlet for aggression because I've exhibited many cases of aggression myself.
I suppose Duel is order and I'm chaos. That's the best way to describe it. I go to Duel to order myself. Otherwise, I don't even want to start.
But for me, what saddens me for them is it's like a powerlessness in that anger. It's like I have to hit something to get that anger out. I can't just like integrate it in some way because that integration is going to implode on me, you know, instead of actually finding a way through it. I mean, I wish that ball was like a different thing. It wasn't going to be hit at someone like, I don't know, stroke it or something, you know, something nicer, like put the ball in velvet, you know, I don't know.
But Duel reflects in my life in that I don't have to bring any aggression or violence or physical prowess into my relationship because Duel takes it all out of me. My cycling takes it all out of me. But it's also a conscious choice.
I think she'd want a bit of physical prowess in the relationship. Come on. What is the physical prowess?
And then they're all saying completely different things. When the one guy said it helps him deal with his aggression.
Yeah.
And
don't save it all for hitball. Give some to the beep.
One fellow once said to me, sometimes I get the feel that, you know, you're trying to hurt someone here. You're trying to hurt me. Now I said, no, Michael, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not interested in hurting you. I want to, you know, rip your fucking head off.
He also says that so calmly. I mean, it's like he winks when he says battle. Goes like this.
So is that tongue-in-cheek?
Yeah, it seems a bit tongue-in-cheek. He's like such a pixie. He's talking about ripping people's heads off.
Doesn't it make you wonder, is it like the society is so constricting that we need to create these games to have the experience of releasing?
And he looks like he's delighted at the thought. Like, it's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe they should bring conscription back or something.
It's fast as power. You know, you grab a ball and you let it out. And it's just such an amazing experience of just being in your power.
Power and punching.
Yeah.
You should do a little banner. Power is punching.
Punching is power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch and power.
But with absolutely no aggression, with no intent to do damage. It's purely and simply combative, and believe it or not, it's done with love.
The fun of Duel in a perverse sort of way for me is that add a little make-believe, suspend disbelief like in a movie. Go a little, you know, allow yourself to play the game a little bit and let that ball be a weapon. Let it be the weapon and kill him.
I hear a lot of guys talk about how guys have a problem with expressing emotion.
Yeah.
But when it comes to anger, it's just like, it's a matter.
This weird world where competition is placed on a pedestal, where being aggressive as a male is a good thing. It's great, you know, people promote it and push it.
And when my children were forcibly taken from me and I was prevented from gaining access to them even though I had 3 court orders.
I think he wants to cry. I don't think he wants to be angry about that. I think it's really unbelievably sad that he has to go through something like that.
I haven't a clue what society expects me to play, what role. Roll over and play dead, I suppose, at the end of the day.
It's simple. I think society sucks.
I don't think society has a role for me.
Mediocrity is the norm, and it's a common thing, and it's a good thing, as seen by the rest of the world. I don't see that. I think you should excel. You should always push yourself to be the best you can.
Daddy's voice there. Yep. Excel, be the best you can. I mean, hell, be mediocre if it makes you happy. What the hell is mediocrity anyway? You know? It's fabulous. I'd love to be mediocre. It's going to make me happy.
I don't know. Does one dip into the paranoia? What role does it have for me? Why trash?
Yeah, stupid systems, people using a system, relying on a system rather than their intelligence.
The idiocy of the human race and the simple-mindedness of people and their locking onto the material value of things where it really doesn't make a difference.
Unfortunate. The role society has for me. Yeah, the clingers. The clingers on.
We live in a very angry society, and that angers me. We live in a very unforgiving society. We live in a very mediocre society.
So it's like, what's he doing to change that? But anyway, his shoulder tension is so apparent that he's angry. He didn't need to speak at all.
People who don't live up to who they are or don't allow me to express myself, you anger me when you do that.
I don't know what to say about that.
Homo sapiens sapiensis.
I've been angered by everything in my life, man, by the whole culture, by the compulsory military service this country used to have, by the current racial discrimination because I was advantaged by the system that said I had to go kill people.
Also, with most of the guys I've met, that's a big topic of conversation.
Having gone there.
Yeah, what it put them through, and I think there they are, in some way justified for throwing off the responsibility, because I think some of that stuff was so unbelievably hectic.
Yeah, well, admittedly, there's a whole sort of paradox. On one end, you're allowed this. In fact, that's what we're counting on as a nation, is that you're going to be aggressive enough to get us out of whatever we're in.
Danger,
and on the other, when you come back home, you should be meek and you should be within sort of boundaries.
Something I hold from childhood is being thought to be wrong in what I'm saying, and having to wait for years sometimes for an apology.
Anger towards my parents for where I felt they fell short in their life.
In my day, they always used to fight. I did judo from the age of 4. I did aikido and boxing, and it was necessary in order to just stay in one piece, and once or twice I didn't manage.
I expressed myself by headbutting a cupboard door once, one of those tin ones. It closed so fast, sprung nicely off my head. Yeah.
What angers me is myself. I react in ways that I later see as destructive and wish I hadn't done it, and it's difficult, it's done.
I can't relate to, I understand that people have impulses towards violence, but I get angry, but I don't feel like hurting anyone else, because I realize it's coming from inside of me and you have to deal with it yourself.
But I think it helps if you picture that person just exploding or something. Then at least, the image, you don't have to do it. I wouldn't advocate, killing people, but yeah.
But the trouble is, there's a thin line for a lot of people between seeing it and actually doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I see myself as passive, therefore I must be a hell of a
dominating and controlling and aggressive.
Passive aggression. I mean, they say that depression is anger that's been repressed. So I think it's natural if it doesn't come out somewhere, it's gonna like implode you in a way.
Oh, well, then maybe the trouble is in how people choose to express the rage, right? Instead of, I mean, understandably, everybody's slightly angry at something, or maybe deeply angry. It's just in how people are allowed to express it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. It doesn't justify any of what people go through when whoever has the rage is dealing with it or trying to send it out there. It doesn't make it okay.
Make what okay?
It does not make it okay when somebody's obviously angry and has been angry for however long, 20, 30 years, whatever. And you take it out on that one particular person for whatever reason. It doesn't make it okay that you hit them or you say something to them that hurts them for the next 30 years as well. There have to be other ways of finding it, right?
I found that the adults that were in my life, and I'm not talking about my family, I'm talking about at school and things like that, were very sick people, man. Very sick people. Majorly aggressive. You know, they were Catholic. You know, it was a Catholic school, and they were not well.
I mean, that's a really sad section in a way, because it's basically proving the point of how when you implode on yourself, you try to express something, and even rage is not something you can express anymore. It's like, for me, he was really trying to say what it was about, but he can't say that, because I think he feels he'll get trapped by it again.
It's interesting. There's also, I think, regret about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of pain about it.
And that there is also, you know, aggression is necessary in many other ways of using aggression creatively, of using aggression to make things, to give me the impetus to take action, not necessarily to hurt.
I may come from Viking people, and as far as I know, the big issue of my people then was, you know, we had to try remember guys, remember rape and pillage before you burn, yeah? Anyway.
He's very naughty, this guy. He's very naughty.
There's probably only just a slice of what he's thinking.
What exactly?
Yeah.
He's got like a little demonic little thing, Gollum sitting in his head. Little precious.
I'm highly reactive to when people impinge on what I believe to be civilized and normal behavior. I can't take it when people, even my wife, treat me lightly.
I think these guys, if so much happens in a game and so many things come out, and I think after a game you're willing to let it all go, because there was a game, so it's okay. And if he did whack you and it wasn't fair play, you understand why he did and so on. It's not as though you're not going to be friends afterwards. But then when it comes to relationships, I think it's like life and death. And if you do something, that person's not going to let it go. So holding these deep grudges, which I never understood, because if relationships are a game, then all's fair.
Yeah. Love and war.
I've been angered by the chaos and difficulty of women. Now it's such a beautiful part of their essence for me.
What do you think about women in general, and why? I don't know if I should answer this question.
I love women. I make no bones about it. I'm a breast man.
They're not as holy as I thought they used to be. I used to think they were the most amazing creatures that have ever existed.
Not much to say about women.
Of the fact that the women do not leave men with their dignity and their respect. It's almost like the ladies see it as a challenge to mold a man into what they want, and when they pop out of that, then the relationship is over.
But so much happens to women exactly because of like, this idea that you either have to control them, or they're out to get you, or they're out to get your dignity, or you have to come out on top. So much happens. So much happens. And I think it's part of like a whole continuum.
Can't live without them, can't live with them. Can live without them.
Disastrous relationships with women that are psychotic, that are completely self-possessed, completely vain, controlling, domineering.
Yeah, women are coming out as the number one culprit here. I suppose it would be mothers, girlfriends, everybody. It's quite scary because if one has that power, then, you know, I don't know, I could feel a bit guilty.
You know, women have been set up as a different species. And we've created that mystique and that all the rest of it. And it gets propagated, you know, and women carry it, I'm sure. Well, they do. Women carry it and work with it. You know, it is part of the whole commercial venture of life, as far as women are concerned.
But then they're on top of that. There are minds that are also different. Radically different. All pointed in some other direction from one's own, because everyone's different. Uniquity is rife.
We're not that different from one another. And I can be just as aggressive as you are, or I can be just as unemotional as you are. Then everything falls apart.
I'm not afraid of women.
They scare me shitless.
It's such an us and them kind of a thing, hey?
Right.
It shouldn't be that.
How do you relate to a woman when you first meet them?
I don't know, whatever I express through my eyes when I look at a woman across the room, and I see how she's carrying herself, whether it's all from the groin.
These days I look. If I'm capable of seeing who she is, I relate to who she is. If I see her presentation and she's just got a mask, a cultural mask that says something loud and clear, I relate to the cultural mask. Play with it a little. Say hello, be friendly.
So I would like to be able to relate to a woman exactly the same as I relate to another man. But that, I don't think is possible.
I would like to hear a guy say that when he sees me for the first time, he sees me. And not, I suppose I'm in this body and somebody doesn't see, it's weird, but I'd like for him to say he doesn't see a woman. Because as soon as he says, well, yeah, I suppose. Because as soon as he says he sees a woman, he's seeing every other woman that he's ever seen, or he's seeing me relative to every other woman as well. Let's just hear that.
I don't think a woman wants to be related to as like another man, or as a human being. You know, as sexless. Hey, why?
I don't think ladies have the slightest clue of what guys are set up like, what it feels like to be in a man's body. Johnny told me that when ladies were given extra testosterone, they suddenly started seeing guys like slabs of meat, you know?
Testosterone does strange things, you know, to a man.
And to a woman.
It turns out.
We like testosterone. It's okay, man. Testosterone's cool.
See, that's the thing is, it just says, okay, this is the way it is. I can't help it. It's biology. That's it.
That's true. That's like shirking the responsibility. But I mean, I'll tell you what. The days where I don't think that I'm in control of who I am, you know, I think it's similar. I honestly do. The hormonal changes in me. But I just think, hell, I mean, who the hell am I today? It's like you feel like you're acting on some other outside external force.
I don't agree with that because, especially for men, it's all about control. But then they're willing to make this one exception. That I'm in full control until that moment.
Accepted, yeah. It's interesting, yeah.
Relating with women, for me, I learned a long time ago, not to go relating in the mode of hunting. You know, at any party, the guys run around, hunt, and the girls work out and they know who's going home with who and what the buzz is. The girls know. Let them run it. They know what they're doing. If they're allowed to get to know what they're doing, they know what they're doing.
Imagine women like statues posing in the corner, just being beautiful, like David or Venus de Milo.
I walk around in this body and feel like positively trapped in it, because it's like it's almost like wearing a different uniform to I suppose men, and therefore you are maybe the enemy or maybe someone they've reconciled with, but you're not just yourself, you're relative to
what your body portrays of you. That's
and
very
you have no
interesting,
choice. It's just
or you're an object of seduction or whatever. I don't know.
It
I
sounds
think
trite,
men
I
do
know.
see. No, it doesn't. But I think men do see all of those layers. I don't think in the first second, but I think a man thinks that what attracts him to a woman, if he's attracted to women, is the outer. But he doesn't know. This is terribly insulting to men. He doesn't perhaps know or register at that point that all the little underlying messages that are coming through from the woman are completely other than physical. All the little tempting, little seductive things that we do without knowing it do show parts of the personality. So he's responding to the personality and the spirit and the charm and the whatever in that body of the woman. I'm surely if he really hates what she looks like, he's not going to give her that much eye contact to get to that point. Right. Yeah, it's like the social glance and that's it. It's over. That was quick. And I think that, I think any man worth his salt gives it a second look.
I will always relate to women sexually. Always.
If you want to talk about aggression, you want to talk about sexual aggression, probably about every 5 men I meet will have something to say.
Sexually.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even like with the acknowledgement that you're a person first or whatever. It's just basically you're a woman and this is what I want you to know about me. You don't know me, I don't know you, and we don't have to know each other beyond this point. But as long as you and I are interacting right now, even if it's in just a look, there's something about you that I want to take from you, or
I want to conquer something.
And that I agree with what you're saying about them responding to something more than just your physical body. But if it's just a blanket response,
they're not even allowing you. They're taking the power away immediately, because then it's like, you know what I want, and we're going to play this game because it's what I want.
Right.
It's the sexual game. Yeah.
And you have kind of no choice because
sorry.
Yeah. Well,
what I do then is I just go straight back in there. I mean, I go top them on flirting, top them on sexual harassment, top them on all of it. Just go like, how's the mirror, sweetie? You know, I'll pinch your bum. Do you know what I mean? I think I know that's aggressive of me, maybe, or whatever, not feminine, whatever the story might be. But I think that's my way of kind of going, okay, you want to play this, I can play it harder than you. So you don't have to feel disempowered by a leering gaze or whatever. You can come straight back out with it.
So if a woman is even a woman who is, 80s, I will flirt with her. I'll play. You know what I mean? It's a flirt. I'll make her appreciate, and I will show her that I appreciate her as a woman. So if you've got a problem with it, deal with it.
but if it's a choice that you've made about who you choose to be, and that's not being, I think it's like a very deep, and you can't legislate against it. It's just like a violence against someone's consciousness or someone's choice to be.
But then call it. Go up to that person and say, sorry, what are you looking at? Or what, are you interested in me? Do you want to talk? What's the story? Do you know what I mean? Not aggressively like I'm doing it now. But you're allowed to ask that question. You're allowed to respond to whatever you feel is an invasion of you. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be powerless by that stereotyping that he's doing to you.
Okay, I've never tried that.
In answer to the next question, have I ever hit a woman? Well, yes, I have.
Have I ever hit a woman? Yeah. And why? Twice.
I did hit a girlfriend once
Wow.
No, I'm getting aggressive.
when she slapped me on the back of the head.
I had my hands around her throat, you know.
No, I broke a woman's ribs once, though.
I don't like being hit on the back of the head. Quite intensely, in fact.
You know, you can imagine. I mean, we are primal beings. We have a reptilian brain. So, well, you know, sometimes we instinctively.
When I see an aggressive person, I know they're filled with fear.
Somewhere in my childhood, I inherited a misogyny.
That's hatred. You know, where can you go with that? Can you ever come back from that? You know? No, I've been, I mean, not the victim of that, but I do know what that feels like, and it's, you know, it really, for me, misogyny dehumanizes a person. It so focuses on the sexuality and the intrinsic negative qualities of that sexuality. It doesn't, you know, it's not about being human, but beings. If you're,
Yeah,
I don't want to
exactly
judge where it comes from. I just think that that's, for me, probably the most aggressive statement that's been made so far.
But that's only a subset of my dislike of humans, because this is a beautiful planet, such a beautiful system, accepting for the humans.
We had an extremely volatile and sometimes violent relationship in which we both came off physically battered and emotionally battered.
Yes, I've hit someone when they blacked out. But did I know it was a blackout? Anger intruded at the last moment and caused me to slap a bit hard. There was a witness. And she condemned me, of course. I've restrained myself so many times from throttling people. I've incapacitated people quite a couple of times. I've actually fended off people in my misunderstanding of the other person's insistence. That person being a woman, of course.
You know, there's always going to be a trigger. I mean, hell, you know, I scream in my car every 5 minutes, but you know, I'm not going to hit someone because of it. And I know women are manipulative or whatever, but
how much of that is because we can't hit back? It's just, I mean, just because you can hit and just because you can kill doesn't make it okay to do so. So for me, this is like a documenting. This is just, it doesn't justify anything. It doesn't excuse anything. It doesn't explain anything. It just is. It's just like, okay, men are aggressive and that's it.
That's it. Take it or leave it. Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think the fact that they're speaking about it is that they are a bit worried about it, or like they're interested, or they want to explore the topic.
Well,
because I mean, otherwise they wouldn't talk about it. They'd just do it.
You know, and I never ever saw any blue marks or anything, but they were there and the intention was there, you know. I mean, the intention was there. When I eventually left, I had to leave, because on that night that I left, that morning, I stepped over an invisible line within myself, which it didn't matter if I killed her.
Yeah, I was really keen to get out of the house, get out of the argument, get away from the woman. It was a hot, intense day. It was a hot, intense experience of all the worst of relationship I do recall. And the form her madness took at the time was the fear, the paranoia of being left, and what I wanted was to leave. So I was trying to get out of the house and clutching and holding all over me and holding on. I thought, well, shake off. Let's throw her right over there onto the bed. And yeah, that's where I broke the ribs. Threw her, and such a struggle, such a holding on that I didn't throw the distance. It's not nice to land on your back on the corner of a bed. Ooh.
Well, I'm a violence. I've dealt with inner issues. I'm quite childish at heart as a person. So it's like a child, it reveals itself as a frustration, a lack of communication.
That I knew I could kill him. I knew I could kill him. So I left. I just left.
If you cannot talk anymore, you go to violence. And don't get me wrong, the one level step before that is violence and anger, voice and shouting and screaming is just as damaging as something physical. But anyway, next question.
I don't really judge the guys who say they've hit people, because I think that you sign a contract when you're in a relationship with someone that relationship can go into violence. I'm speaking from experience, and I think that, not that it's ever good to hit anybody, but I think that sometimes the man automatically gets blamed because he's the stronger, whatever, aggressor. But I think a woman's, not that it's ever good to be hit, but I think that a woman's power to manipulate someone is so much greater than a fist. That there becomes like a 2-year-old response of like, I can't talk to you, so I'm going to smack you over the head.
Any aggro starts in front of me. I see it start happening. I immediately take action. I just stand up and I'll walk away.
I think some people are able to manipulate other people out of control, and that's what happened to me, and I take full responsibility for allowing myself to get out of control. Yeah, I do.
I can control myself. That's what I can do, to the best of my ability.
So do you think it would be better to start looking at different ways that people are aggressive towards one another?
Yeah.
Not just a violent aggression.
Exactly.
Something
There's
else.
aggression of the mind, there's aggression, sexual aggression. There's so many. I mean, the thing about pressing buttons, the one guy was saying, if you know someone that well, I think love, it's completely the flip side of love, because you know exactly where you're going to go with that whole argument, you know how it's going to end. But I think it's a choice to not dance that dance, to go, okay, I can see where this is going in this relationship. Let me not press that button. As a woman now, not press that button. You know, unless it's extremely important, you know, for the survival of whatever. But
But you're saying, and I understand exactly what you're saying, but then then that means the blame or the choice to not do something or not press any button still resides within
the woman. It shouldn't. No,
that I don't know.
It shouldn't. It should be a mutual thing. It shouldn't be like the. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
What I appreciate with this is that it is very individual, and they're saying this is what happened with me, and at some point this happened, and I feel anger because of these things, and they're all slightly different reasons why they're angry. But I wonder if you had like a Swati guy sitting there, and I'm Swati, he'd probably tell you it's because of the way things are supposed to be, right? And this is just,
if someone doesn't obey you, then that's how it is.
And how, I don't know what kind of argument you can have against that.
This is the man of ownership, domination, and control. What you buy is yours, I think. What you acquire is yours, even if it's someone else's.
It's written between the lines. Behind every great man is a great woman, and that is the truth. I believe in a symbiotic relationship with another human being. I believe that the man, he's dominant in this, in the sense that he's predictable from A to B to C, whereas a woman's far more flexible. She can go from A to Z, which is great.
Mechanistic. I am.
Ownership, domination, control is gone. However, for men it's gone. For women it's only beginning. Women are now becoming dominating. controlling and take ownership. And it sucks. They do it worse than we do because, as I said, a man's predictable.
Your urge to own, your urge to control, Who you think you can own another person?
I don't think women see it as a challenge. I think but the molding thing is true. I mean, I think women don't. Well, I think women and men, we all look at each other and go, what can we change here? What can we sandpaper off this person to make them perfect? You know, it's not. I don't think that it's intentional. I don't think it comes with a kind of a malice of like, let's see if I can win.
Yeah,
this person.
Yeah, for sure. But then, you know how he says women don't want to leave a man with his dignity and his respect. In my experience, dignity and respect has always been defined as in, it's always two ways.
Yeah.
And I decide what my dignity and respect is. And you then have to give me what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
For. Whatever that is. If it means, you know, I have to kneel when I give you your food. I mean, if it means I have to cook for you, if it means I have to stay at home and watch the kids, then that's exactly what
it is. It's what the rules are. But the dignity for me is important because the more I love someone, the more I'll sublimate myself for them. You know, so I think if I understand him correctly, he's saying that when you give so much to somebody and you love someone so much, you do end up without your dignity because you are like bleeding on the floor when they kick you, because otherwise you couldn't have had a relationship of any worth if you weren't feeling that much in the first place. You allow yourself to, you allow yourself to feel something, and therefore you do get hurt. I mean, but I think that women don't go out there with their little knives and try and, you know, like, what do you call it? Surgery. Yeah. But a woman sees love as communicating about interesting and emotional things. I think a man sees that as invasive in a way.
There are some non-negotiables. The non-negotiables are screwing around, are swearing at each other, calling each other names, physical, emotional, mental abuse or whatever.
The non-negotiable is unconditional love.
Unconditional love, by definition, is a condition.
Make one condition. I'm willing to engage with you in this process of love, this game, this energy we call love. I'm willing to engage with you, just so long as what? You don't share that energy with someone else.
Yeah.
Just so long as you don't share this part of that energy with someone else. Conditions? No conditions.
I mean, that's ideal, you know, no conditions. There always are conditions. I wish there were no conditions. I don't think it exists, unconditional love. I mean, maybe I'm completely cynical, but I don't think it exists. Every single man I've been with has given 40 million conditions.
Even unspoken ones?
You know, yeah, completely. Yeah. And some very spoken, you know, lose 5Ks before I see you again, you know. So I'd say there are some radical conditions out there, you know. It's not... I don't know, unless you've, you know, grown up with the fairies, you know, like loved you unconditionally, there's no way.
And every relationship is actually a condition. It's like you put boundaries.
Yeah, because for that to survive, you have to make a contract between two people that has conditions, like I won't sleep around when I'm with you. That's a basic one, or I won't flirt in front of you, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah.
But behind your back.
General comment about loyalty. I'm generally somebody who will stick by somebody who serves me and feeds my river and whom I'm able to assist and who fits in with my philosophies and my belief systems in life. So,
I recall a time in marriage when I got to learn that I had jealousy. Yeah. And my jealousy exploded. I understood I had jealousy. I was enraged.
It's difficult. So I was never jealous until I was in a relationship.
I wanted to be violent. Yes, I wanted to be violent. Plenty violent. Oh, such a lust for it, such a hunger.
If you want loyalty, then what is it that you mean by loyalty? You know, what do you want?
Jealousy. I think jealousy is long gone, eh?
So is love then.
I don't see the reason. This whole sex thing is really not a viable way of communicating with me.
Your jealousy is your jealousy. My jealousy has always been my jealousy. Nobody causes it. No one's responsible for it. You make it yourself.
You know, it's an ideal state. It's like pure love. You know, whenever in your life have you experienced that, unless in moments? You know, one can't have that in a relationship. You can't. It's one of the can't have. You know, I wish it were different.
Is that why we go through so many relationships?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for, you know, Mr. Shining Armor dude, but I mean, I don't know. I think one deals with the disappointments. That's it. Oh, it sounds terrible.
Yeah,
But
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like, okay, you meet someone.
Life is hell.
Yes. Doom and gloom.
Yeah.
You meet someone and then they turn out not to agree with the conditions you're setting down.
Yeah.
And so you just let it go.
You
and
just
then you go on your merry way and meet someone else. It's just
keep a perpetual cycle of
Every relationship I've had, I've loved and been loved. You know, just take time out of the equation. Every single relationship of mine has been a success.
In the Bible it says, look ye neither left nor right. So while the pretty things are in front of you, that's fine, but then don't hanker after them. Guys, if you want to stay faithful, this is how to do it. Flirt with them when they're in front of you, and when they leave your vision. Don't take cell phone numbers, don't bother them, drop it.
Good advice.
I don't think I'm fearful of staying in a long-term relationship. I think it's more about being the lone wolf. Same old story.
Oh no, au contraire. Wow. I have so many people to love and be loved, I can't keep up. It's very beautiful. Thank you.
And I've learned what I can do and can't do. And long-term relationships so far has been one of the things that I don't want to do.
No, not really, but it's got to be a really special person for me to enter into a long-term relationship with them.
Not at all. It lasts as long as it lasts. Every connection does. I'm not scared of losing it. I'm not scared of staying in it.
Relationship. What is relationship, man? Waking up with people, sleeping next to people in the same room, in the same building, on the same planet.
Girls have said to me, you're emotionally unavailable, and that is true. I'm not completely emotionally unavailable, but I'm partially emotionally available because I'm available to so many other things in my life. There's so many things that I have in my life that I put my emotion into, that I put everything into. I cannot commit my entire being to another human being. I think that is a sin, you know.
I'm enduring my necessary movements in life through all of those phases that we have to go through to actually improve ourselves as human beings and make ourselves more social. It's taken me this long to realize that I'm actually totally unsocialized, unsocialized, and unsociable. I'm a hermit.
Describe your ideal relationship. Wow.
Sense of humor, and she can suck a golf ball through 20 foot of hosepipe, I suppose.
Two people or more flowing with their own source of love, flowing and in touch with the love in them, having an excess of love and being willing to share. There's the ideal relating of man and woman.
I don't know, the frisson that happens between people without communication, which happened. But everything jades. What is beyond jade? What does jade become after it's jaded?
The things in my life that give me peace and the things in my life that work for me are not conducive to a long-term relationship, the way relationships are sort of panned out or have panned out for me.
I think the men were always living in that cave out there hunting weeks at a time, months. But pulling back in for a good meal, that's quote unquote pulling in for a good meal, and that would inevitably lead to children, and then
I thought he was going to say
Yeah.
a bit of nookie.
So he's been saying big myth, the whole Steppenwolf idea of just people living outside of I don't know, and women being the society and guys living outside of it, and every now and again coming in and things happen and then they go back out again. It's such a it's manufactured. I don't really think it's true. When was it ever like that? Does anyone really remember it ever being like that? We all up against one another, and the hunter-gatherer thing just...
But I think it works. You know, the guy going out there and getting the bread and the whole naked ape thing. I think it works. As much as we also competing for, I don't know, space in the corporate sun, whatever. I think the structure does work.
You really?
Yeah. In some instances, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is traditional roles do work. Otherwise, they wouldn't have survived for thousands of years. You know, the men. I'm actually hating myself for saying this, but anyway. But the men can't have the children. I mean,
but they can take care of the children just as...
Sure. Yeah.
No,
you're right. The responsibility shouldn't fall completely on the woman.
Okay, well, I think I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying that on some level, it is kind of, that's how it's meant to be.
Not meant to be. I just think it's don't fix what ain't broke. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it does work on one level. You hating me, I know, but the role playing. Not that there's room for improvement. I mean, of course there's room for improvement.
Right.
I'm not saying it should be like completely absolute, but I do think the basic structure is okay. The male-female basic structure in a family, in a traditional family, is okay.
I don't agree with that at all. The whole idea of a family for me, I think, is completely constructed. I think the idea of like social roles is also just a construct, and it's an imposed construct most of the time. It's something that people kind of learn about as they go along. I don't think anything else could be happening. It's just that this is happening because it serves some specific end. I'm not sure what yet, but
maybe we're all on instinct. We all keep doing the same thing we've been doing for thousands of years, but I think it works. I don't know.
So you'd like to get married and settle down?
Oh yes.
This new thing of like trying to run a family and trying to run a career, and that doesn't work. If you make children, you must look after them, and you must love them, and you must write off 15 years of your life if you 20 if you have a child, and mommy stays at home because this is how it works best for the children. Daddy goes out and works, and for years you struggle. But your children come out right. They have a grounding in the culture that you have. And there's love. Mommy working with 3 months maternity leave is a sin. It's a societal sin.
He agrees with me.
I think so. Whoa. I was wondering when we were going to get there. I wonder, like, how many men believe that, like on the core of who they are, that's really a truth for them.
But I just think there's a difference between being in a situation of discussing it like we are than actually being there. When you are there with the family, the survival of the family depends on certain role playing. There's no way in hell that you can speculate on those roles while you're actually in the situation. Do you know what I mean? The reality of bringing up a child and actually being there 24 hours a day. I know we have the luxury of sitting here and saying, is it right that the woman does most of it? The facts are the breast gives the milk, and I think, obviously, I'm not I don't know, I'm not trying to like lay down a law, like that's what should happen, but I'm saying that's what does happen, and there's a reason it does happen. And some of those reasons are good. Because they are structured around evolution of human beings.
I'm not saying that that's not how it turns out, and I'm not saying it's wrong in any way, but I think then a lot gets, you can take a lot of advantage of that situation.
Sure, absolutely. But I think you're going into the pathology of that situation. I'm going into the ideal of that situation. Is actually, it's a good idea. You know, if it functions beautifully in utopia, it's a good idea. But I think they obviously with everything there are lines that go blurred and boundaries that get shifted and things go wrong. But I don't think that's a fundamental problem with man working, woman bringing up kids.
You don't think so?
No. Unless it's forced, unless the woman is told that's it, you can't do it. Or the man is told go out and work when the man actually wants to be home with the kids. I don't think it should be Moses' tablets. I think it should be basically very fluid. It should be negotiated.
Okay. So. I'll agree with that.
Good.
To be okay in myself. Even in the game. I'm okay in myself. If I lose, it's okay. If I win, it's okay. If I look like an idiot, yeah, it's okay. Big deal.
It's quite cute. I think he likes you. I think he likes you.
Eddie. This is my friend as well.
I can be just as unemotional as you are. Then everything falls apart.
What else is life but relationships? It's relationships. That's life.
If you aren't of a giving nature, you're not going to have a relationship.
But I accept that pain is inevitable. Really, you know. Spending my life trying to escape it is ridiculous.
I would like to hear a guy say when he sees me for the first time, he sees me.
To grow, it seems, only happens when I am in a relationship. That is when I have my most growth.
It's an interesting arena for the interaction of all the egos that we all have.
As long as I'm okay within, it's amazing how well everybody else is.
What could work in your ideal world might not work in reality, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think you just need to have one to know what your ideal relationship is. A relationship is ideal anyway.
I'm always more in touch with what is the relationship looking for in me. What aspect of my love is moving that's appropriate for this person?
When was it ever like that? We all up against one another. It's manufactured. I don't really think it's true.
I wouldn't want an ideal relationship. 2 years of perfection, you'd end up being bored. It's the honing of the rough edges that make us better people. And if you're ideal, well, then you're like a diamond, and I'm just not ready to be cut yet.
The very best thing is to be involved, is to be in someone's life. That's what fulfills them.
Feelings are very difficult to explain in words.
Above all of that is this huge, completely overwhelming love.
Love is a gift.
I've had one long love affair.
And love is everything. Love is everything.
That's the only thing I want in my life, is to be loved and to find something to love. Everything else is secondary.
The rest are just man-made insanity.
But I do want love. Oh yes, I do.
To me, the overwhelming love.
Love is everything.
Love affair.
Love
To
is
love
everything.
the overwhelming love.
The learning of love.
Love is a gift.
To me, love, the deep, true love, is when you have a deep compassion for everyone and everything. And especially so with your partner, if you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, you can still have love.
I've had the love affair of my life. I've discovered that love is far stronger than the rampant ego that I've been granted.
Love is the most amazing thing I've ever felt in my life. It's been a long time since I felt anything like it. I feel hollow inside without it. It's inspired me. It made me feel literally like I was walking on the air. It went, as love does. It's not something you can hold. It's something that, it's like a bird, flutters down, lands on your shoulder and chooses to love you. Fortunately, there are lots of those little birds and not just a few of them, so most of us should be in love, even though we're not.
And I think they're all aspects of the goddess expressing an absolutely magnificent, bountiful aspect of creation here. I think they exist for one purpose in terms of me, and that's the learning of love.
Society is an organization of roles. A free society must be one whose selection of the roles possible and available to any individual tend towards their infinite. That would be the ideal. But a role presupposes a construction, something scripted, for which each of us needs to audition. We have to have the right skill for it, the right kind of intelligence. I spent most of my girlhood playing the part of a boy, because up until 13 we all can. Androgyny is a skill. The roles are entrenched, and the ones that seem least likely to change are those which our sexuality qualifies us for. In time, I got called for less and less auditions. The work dried up for my kind, left in the wings and the shadows, and suddenly unable to deliver the emotion that was required. The rage and the anger and the aggression.
The truth behind the fairy tale of the soulmate is that there is an ideal, perfect match for each of us. It's in our subconscious. For a man, it's usually an inner woman. For the female, it's usually an inner man. It's made up of whatever we repressed when the culture taught us to be a boy or a girl. The duel between men and women of relationship is an area in which we can learn love, can integrate our own inner male and female aspects, and that makes us whole and teaches us love as such. It's a difficult game. It's tough, it looks rigged, it looks unfair, and it's even ugly at times. But it is the only game in town. And if you don't play, you can't win.